Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another Reddit story for you. This one comes from AITA and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Not Letting My Ex-Husband's New Girlfriend Have a Piece of His Mother's Jewelry? Throwaway because family knows my main. I, 40 female, and my ex, we'll call him Joe, 41 male, were high school sweethearts. Started dating when we were 17, married at 19, and divorced 20 years later, so going on 2 years now. We have an amazing daughter, Sarah, who is 8, and has adjusted really well to the separation. Joe and I get along great. The divorce was amicable and we're still good friends. Not like we hang out alone or anything, but we don't argue or fuss at each other, help each other out, and just overall have each other's backs because at the end of the day, our number one priority will always be Sarah and doing what is best for her. Good for you. We've both moved on and are in serious long-term relationships with other people. His girlfriend, Lily, 46 female, is great and really good for him. I've never had any conflict with her and enjoy spending time with her when we all get together for holidays and other important events or celebrations. Until last week. Joe's parents passed away within a month of each other last summer, and it was devastating for all of us. Even though Joe and I had already been divorced for about a year, they still treated me like family and I loved them dearly. Joe and Lily hadn't started dating yet, so she never met them, which is a shame. They were incredible people. Long story to get to the point, but I feel like the background is important. Last week, Sarah got a box in the mail from her aunt, who was responsible for dividing up my late mother-in-law's jewelry amongst the kids and grandkids. She had a huge collection of both costume and more expensive fine jewelry. I let Joe know about it, and he explained that some of it was left to me, so when he could come over and we sort through it together. Lily came with him, which was fine. It was extremely difficult, and we were both very emotional, so I'm glad she was there to support him. Here's where I think I might be the asshole. As we're going through the jewelry, we had pulled out a couple of cheaper pieces of costume jewelry for Sarah to have now, and I had picked out a couple of rings, a necklace, and 3 pairs of earrings to keep, knowing that they will eventually go to Sarah as well. Joe and I agreed that the rest of it would be put away in the lockbox that we each have a key to at my house and would stay there until Sarah is older and it goes to her. One of those pieces being put away is a beautiful set of ruby and diamond earrings and a necklace that are obviously very real and we believe were passed down from Joe's grandmother. Lily had been admiring the set and making comments about how well it would go with the wedding dress she had been looking at. They aren't engaged, or even with some of her date night outfits. Joe didn't say anything to her in response, and when she put them down, I wrapped them back up and put them along with the rest of the jewelry in the lockbox. Since then, Lily has texted me multiple times asking about them and if she could just borrow them. At one point, she accused me of just wanting them for myself and pointing out that Joe and I were divorced and I didn't have any right to keep them. Like this bizzo has some kind of right to them as Joe's new girlfriend? I don't think you want to fight that battle, bizzo. She also has said that when they get married, the jewelry will legally be part of their marital assets anyway, so I'm just putting off the inevitable. That's just not true. I'm not planning on wearing them. Per my agreement with Joe, I'll wear the pieces I picked out and the rest will stay put away for Sarah. I have zero intention of taking any of it out unless it's necessary, and even then, I'll let Joe know what's going on with it. Joe has been radio silent and I haven't said anything because I don't want to cause any conflict that could have an impact on Sarah. So am I the asshole for not giving in and letting Lily have some of the jewelry meant for my daughter? No, you're not. You might be the asshole for not letting Joe know that his girlfriend is trying to get her hands on his mom's jewelry. She just wants to borrow it. Dollars to donuts. This bizzo borrowing them would somehow turn into a long-term arrangement, i.e. she's never going to give them back. And her talking like somehow she's going to have some legal claim to it, and that's not how that works. She thinks she's going to take something that was part of an inheritance, essentially. It was part of a will. And like she's going to have some claim to it when they get married someday, even though it was already divided up, even though she would never have any kind of claim to an inheritance of his anyway. She's trying to take it from Sarah, the daughter, the 8-year-old. She's trying to pluck the diamond and rubies from this child. They'd go so nice with my date outfit. Maybe the wedding dress I'm looking at for someday. Which, by the way, at that point will be the time that I have legal claim to them, right? Dear Lulu, please tell Joe. You got to tell Joe. Joe needs to know. I am so glad that you guys not get together. You guys, what am I trying to say? You guys get along well. Shit. I'm so glad that you guys get along well. The fact that you still respect each other is even further evidence to support you telling him. Reverse the roles. You would want to know if your boyfriend was doing something like this, right? You would want to know if the person you were dating was making these kind of requests behind your back. That's an even bigger red flag. Joe needs to know. Joe needs to know. He needs to be on guard, because if she's willing to take these things and be vicious with her claims, if she's willing to be shitty about this, he needs to know, because that could also equate to her being shitty to Sarah. He needs to know, if for no other reason, for the protection of your daughter. He needs to know. Would you agree with that, Candy Thunder? You think he needs to know? He needs to know yesterday, she says. Yes. Blah!